I recently learned of a framework that could have profound effects on the sustainability of this lifestyle. I'm going to talk to you about that as well as some other things I wish I knew before moving into my car in this video. But first, I need to set up my campsite because somebody already came along and tried to steal this from me. So I need to make a little bigger footprint here. So when I pulled up to this campground, I got the last site available. But you know how it is at campgrounds is a lot of times you have to occupy the site and then you have about 30 minutes to pay. So I put down this tarp and that bag there, which actually contains my toilet. It's totally sanitary, don't worry. And then I went out to go pay, but I forgot my site number. So I came back here and there was a truck camper that had pulled in here and they were just getting out. And I said, "Hi, I've occupied that site. That's my stuff on the table." And tell me why this woman asked me 3 times if she could just stay here with me. And I politely declined, explaining that I needed to work and I wanted just peace and quiet so I could focus. Now, I don't know if they're full timers or what their circumstances are, but I do know that for me, one of the things that really surprised me about coming on the road full time is that there is basically no personal space. There's no guarantee of privacy. Yeah, I can go way out somewhere and find a dispersed campsite, but that doesn't mean that somebody's not going to choose to pull up right nearby. And I spend a lot more time in towns and cities recently for work-related things, door dashing, and the lack of privacy and just personal space really does start to wear at me. But I think regardless of towns or cities or what have you, living in a vehicle means that you are giving up that personal space and privacy that you might have at home, especially if you live in a single family home. That's something that you're probably not going to get too much of out here on the road unless you really work for it. Now, this is neither the most quiet or private campground anyway, so it's not like I have complete solitude here, but at least I have this space to call my own. I know that I can be here. It's just my personal area for the night, and when you spend a lot of time living in a vehicle, stealth camping, there's always sort of this worry. Are you going to get the knock? Are you going to get kicked out? Are you going to get cited? And so having that guarantee of it for tonight, I don't want to share that with anyone. I'm sorry, I just don't. All right, before I get too carried away with cooking dinner and settling in for the evening, I just want to head right down this embankment right here and head over to the river because this is technically riverside camping. I don't have the best spot, but I got the last spot, so that's the key. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh no. Wow. Probably not surprising to hear that living in a car requires one to be pretty minimalistic. It doesn't have to be extreme, but you are going to be saying no much more often than you would be saying yes. Are we surprised? I'm not. There are tremendous benefits to stripping down conveniences that will facilitate personal growth. No doubt about it. Hitting the road and embarking on this adventurous journey really is an odyssey, and a lot of people take it as an opportunity to find themselves. I definitely embraced that promise when I found myself unhoused, and this journey has profoundly changed me. And while I've uncovered a lot about myself, I don't know that I've fully found myself yet, but I do know that I've lost bits of myself along the way. In the need to embrace minimalism, oversalted that. The chaotic flurry I often find myself in, the impact of self camping, and the psychological feeling of being the undesirable, as well as the potentially unique component of also trying to build a YouTube channel while doing all of this, I have lost some connection to parts of myself. There are hobbies that I used to enjoy that just for the sake of space, I can't do any longer. Cooking is all about efficiency of cooking one pot meals, usually, and cleanup. Baking, forget about it. And something that I recently really started to miss was being able to host people, being reciprocating hospitality. Hospitality is my love language. There are reasonable solutions to all of these named issues and pretty much anything else I could come up with. For me, it's worth it. I love my nomadic life, but this is something that I didn't really expect. So I just wanted to bring it up because, as romantic as the notion of being wildly free and breaking away from it all might seem to some people, it might be surprising how quickly you can come to miss some parts of your mundane life. Hello? Sorry, I just eat the same thing over and over again. I'm sorry to you. I'm sorry to myself. But this is easy, it's healthy, and it's just helping me stay on track right now. I think few people like novelty more than I do. It's fresh, it's exciting. I like the challenge of figuring things out, but when everything is new all the time, whether it's what you're making for dinner in a suboptimal setup, where you're going to hike, or where you're going to camp, it can be exhausting. And so I'm camping at a place that I've camped at several times before. Tomorrow, I'm going to get up and do a hike that I've done several times before. Tonight, I'm eating the dinner that I have a variation of pretty much every night. And that's okay because all new all the time can lead to burnout pretty quickly. And I am trying to recover from that. Mm, it's delicious. It's like I had it for the first time. Mm. I'm gonna get the fire set up, the fire started in a second here. It's gonna be a little questionable. I might need to do it off camera because I'm gonna need full focus. I only have one fire starter left, and it's my emergency fire starter. So I'm gonna try to do it without it. But I might declare it an emergency if I can't get it started without. We'll see. But first, I must set up my coffee things for the morning. Literally just so much easier to get started with the day if you can just flick a switch and get the kettle started and just get the caffeine going, you know? All right. All set up, have the AeroPress, my mug, my kettle, the coffee. Yay, good to go.
What's seen and our distance challenge we will receive. There is nothing and no one that could be in our way. It's just me and it's you in this moment we can say.
Bear Grylls is who? I'm a genius. Although I love this area and I feel comfortable here, I'm not staying here long. I am heading into Colorado. I did a live with my patrons recently over on patreon.com, and I gave them a couple of options of where I should go for my last little excursion before starting my winter seasonal job, and Colorado was the overall winning consensus. So there are some places in Colorado that I had hoped to get to this summer and I just didn't. It's getting late in the season to go there, but I've got my snow tires on and the forecast is actually looking really good, so should be a good time.
Good morning, coffee time. Not too bad. I am up with the sun. I'm gonna head out on a hike that is actually just right across from this campground. It's a pretty popular little hike, so I want to get out early. I know it's gonna be chilly out there on trail, so I'll just layer up and really just go out and enjoy getting some movement in first thing in the morning. While I sip my coffee, I just want to mention that one of the things that I think people do talk about a bit with van life, road life, nomadic life is building in routines. It's not necessarily easy, at least for me, who's not really a super routine person to begin with, to establish and maintain routines as the world around me is constantly changing. I do believe that establishing and maintaining a healthy routine on the road, as difficult as doing so is, just at least having like little rituals, like making your cup of coffee the same way every morning, maybe getting out and going for, maybe it's not a hike every day, but maybe a walk for 30 minutes every morning, meditation, prayer, yoga, stretches, whatever that looks like, just building a foundation of maybe like 3 things that can help really feel like a routine, can just build some stability into this lifestyle. But I also really think that those rituals, whatever they are, should be something that supports a healthy mind and healthy body, because it can be kind of difficult to maintain those things on the road, especially especially for content creators or people that are also working really hard, because this lifestyle can be draining in so many ways due to that. And this is definitely one of those situations where it's a do as I say, not as I do, because I'm terrible at this. And all through the 6 years of me being a nomad, I've really tried repeatedly to get started on a healthy routine process, but I'm still trying to make that happen. I'm not there yet still. But I do try to remind myself that no matter where I am, what I'm seeing, what I'm doing, anything like that, the scenery outside might change, but what doesn't change is the vessel I have in which to enjoy or explore that, and that is my body. And so taking care of my mind and my body is so important. Otherwise, I'm not going to really fully be enjoying the thing that I'm trying to do.
Learned everything about love in the earth.
Good morning. I left Grand Staff Campground, walked across to the Grand Staff Trailhead, and I'm hiking out to Morning Glory Bridge, which is 2.5 miles each way, 5 miles round trip. Should take me a few hours maybe. This is my first time hiking on slick rock since I sprained my ankle, so I can already tell that it is definitely putting more pressure on my ankle, because a lot of times on these slick rock trails throughout Utah, what you're doing is you're kind of off camber on your foot and you're just relying on the grip of your shoes to really grab that not so slick rock. It's actually sandstone, and if it's not wet, your shoes aren't wet, and you have good soles on your shoes, you will lock in on that, which is actually usually very fun. It's one of my favorite sensations, but I do feel that it's putting some pressure on my ankle. So I'm gonna take it nice and slow and enjoy this absolute beauty of a hike.
Somewhere we just missed it. We lost our grace. Now we know we did it all just to see that place. The sadness, we had this, we knew. We were giants, we were free. We're the ocean, we're the sea.
Wow, this hike is unbelievably gorgeous. I can't believe how many flowers are still out considering the time of year. Oh, it's stunning. Also, a quick reminder, if you're enjoying my content, give it a thumbs up, hype if you can, subscribe if you're not already, and turn on those notification bells. Wow. It's worth mentioning that this hike does require a little bit of route finding, although it is pretty well signed. So definitely consider downloading a map for offline use, because there is no cell service over here. And one thing I haven't been showing yet is that this hike does require a little bit of scrambling. It's not just like hiking on 2 feet. There's water crossings, which I've shown, but also a little bit of rock scrambling. Nothing with high exposure or a high risk, but it exists. I just haven't been filming it because there are a number of people on this hike, so by the time I set up a shot and navigate that and do it, like, it just takes too much time and it's disruptive to others.
Dirty clothes and dirty feet. with the ocean, with the sea. When we felt right, when we knew there's a skyline breaking through.
Amazing hike. Great way to start the day. Now I'm gonna make breakfast. Breakfast time. So earlier in the video, I teased you about kind of like a travel format that I recently just heard about that honestly I wish I kind of knew about all along. I mean, it's something that intuitively I've known that is a good idea, but I didn't really hear that it was kind of commonly recommended until just a few days ago. And what it is, well, there's kind of different variations. There's a 222, a 333, and a 444. I'll talk about the 333 because I think that would be the most optimal for me. And what that means is it is um, recommended to not drive more than 300 miles in a day, get to your campsite by 3 p.m., and stay for 3 days. So 333. Also 222 and 444 would be the same principles, but different durations. I think 3 days at a time is a really good idea because just kind of like bookends everything and guarantees that you have one or more full days of just being able to be in a place. And that's something that I really struggled with applying because I don't know. I move around a lot. I think that is such a healthy format. I definitely try not to drive long stretches. Driving is stressful, okay? I've definitely done better about applying a system like 333 as I've come back to the West. Also know from most of last winter, I was pushing towards Florida and I was always going slower than I intended, but I also didn't have like 3 days to spend in one place. And so I think in the future, when I hopefully at some point head back to the east or go on like a road trip, I will take maybe a 2-week chunk and plan to kind of go full force for those 2 weeks and then come back and reset back with 333 because it's not always going to be possible to do that. And everybody has to find their own rhythm. And that's why there's like 222 and 444 also, because it will be different for everyone. I imagine if you're traveling with a partner, getting away with something like 222 could be easier because you're dividing the workload. Whereas as a solo traveler, it's all on me. Figuring out where to camp, how to get there, what to do, and then creating videos, editing, uploading, and the other side of the thing. So yeah, I have a belief that it would be easier to do with a partner maybe. Ooh, that's a nice looking waffle. It is pumpkin butter season once again. However, by the time I actually made it to a Trader Joe's, they were sold out for the whole season, and I was slightly devastated. But I quickly got over it. However, my mother, the hero she is, would not let me get over it so easily. So she actually ordered this off of Amazon, but it is from Trader Joe's. Thank goodness for resellers. It's just as good as I remember it. All right, as I kick back and enjoy my chocolate chip protein pumpkin butter waffles, I have one last thing to share with you, and that is how frequently you shower is in direct proportion to how often you're in proximity to town. There are exceptions to that, of course. If you are living in like a self-contained rig with a shower, you might be able to shower more frequently. It kind of depends on how much your water your rig can carry, which a lot of times, a quick rinse off. I really don't, I'm not an expert on that, okay? But I know you can't have like a full shower every single day off grid usually. Um, And then the other option would be to have sort of like some sort of external solar shower where, say, for example, I could just go over here to the Green River, scoop up a bucket of water, and shower off with that. But a lot of nomads are using gym memberships that may only exist in larger towns or cities. Personally, I have a membership to Planet Fitness, and that's typically how I will shower. But in other places, such as Moab, where I'm headed back into, I can go to the rec center and pay for a shower. Now, it's $12 to take a shower there, which is about 50% of what I pay, maybe 40% of what I pay monthly for my gym membership. So it can quickly add up. You can also choose to camp at campgrounds that have shower facilities. It usually costs a little bit extra for that, or you can sometimes just visit campgrounds and get a shower there. I know the library here in Moab has a poster with a whole list of places that offer showers in this town. So since I just finished up with about a 5 mile hike, I think that's what my next step for the day is. I'm gonna go visit the rec center, pay, take a shower, and then I'm off to Colorado. But I'm gonna leave you here. I want to thank you for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers. Mm-mm-mm.